Bine v-am găsit, suntem în Cariere în mișcare, un nou episod și v-am pregătit un episod foarte, foarte interesant pentru că, așa cum probabil mulți dintre voi ați auzit, s-a lansat o nouă platformă de socializare, Made in Romania, cum s-ar spune. Vreau să înțelegem care sunt planurile, cum funcționează, ce o face diferită față de ceea ce deja întâlnim pe piața platformelor de socializare, iar pentru asta l-am invitat alături de mine pe Grégoire Vigroux, cofondator al eYou, așa cum se numește platforma. And I will switch to English now. Hello and thank you very much for being here, Greg.
Mulțumesc foarte, foarte mult că m-ai invitat. Mulțumesc din suflet.
A lot of questions from me, but first of all, of course, the main question is why? Because we have so many platforms already, big platforms, and you and your team, you came up with a new one. Why a new one?
I started discussing with my very good friend Jassim Alibocus, who became my co-founder. He is a tech genius, he's a product genius, and we said, okay, there might be something to do. Europe deserves to have its own European social media app. Now is the perfect time. Lots of people are tired of the traditional social media networks. On the political level, lots of European leaders are talking about European digital sovereignty. Lots of them are talking about dependence to American tech giants, the big tech. We said this is the time. This was a Q4 last year when we decided to build up pitch deck after carefully understanding the expectations of the users. So we did a survey with 400 respondents, 35 questions to understand what was their preferences and their needs when it would come to a new social media platform.
And what did people say in this
86% of those people said that Europe needs its own social media platform. 99% of them said that they have been encountering fake news on social media. Said, okay, there is really a need for a new social media platform, a new kind of social media platform. We built a PowerPoint deck, pitch deck of 12 slides. We started pitching a few friends of ours, VCs, and our friends from Filouche Capital, French guy, Julien Cousteuri, and Roger, his business partner, a British guy. They launched a VC firm in Zagreb, in Croatia. They loved the project at first sight. They said, look guys, we want to invest, how much do you need? I said, like, we need 300,000 euros to build the technology. They gave us 300,000 euros immediately. That's why we have our HQ in Zagreb, by the way, because it was more easy for them to invest quickly in the company. And yes, that's it. And that was December. We did the official launch on May 5th. So only 3 weeks ago from the recording of this today. 50,000 plus users on the platform. 41 minutes spent by a user on average, whereas it's 30% on Facebook, it's 30 minutes on Facebook, also around 30 minutes on X. So very good retention. But it's going to be very, very hard. So I'm not here to say, yes, we've won nothing. This is just the beginning of crossing the Dev Valley. You know, the Dev Valley is this expression used in the Silicon Valley to say that for a certain time, maybe the first 12 months of the company, it can be longer than that, way longer than that. As a startup founder, you cross the Dev Valley and most tech founders would die. I mean, their company would die along the way, because when you look at the statistics, it's quite staggering. 80 to 90% of tech startups in Europe will never reach their 4th birthday. So we are crazy enough, not only, once again, because I had other businesses from before, but once again, at 46 years old, not only I'm crazy enough to take on the challenge of creating a new tech startup, but I'm picking what is probably the most challenging and unlikely, statistically speaking, chances to succeed, which is a social media app. Why? Because we are going to fight head-on with X, with Facebook, with Instagram, with TikTok. But oh my God, this is so exciting. I've never been so excited in my entire life. Because if we enter this battle and we become a big global social media player, then we will have succeeded.
What makes eYou different from all the social media platforms that we already know, that we already can call them traditional platforms. What's different here? And I want to go into specifics of how the algorithm works and so, but in general, what's different?
It's a good question because it does not suffice to say, it's not sufficient to say you are building a social media app and just because you are European, because the team is in Europe, because the data of your users in Europe, and because you have European values, it's enough to compete at the global scale. No way. You need to bring differentiators, you need to bring added value, you need to bring killer features. Killer features for which people will decide to come back to your app on a daily basis and stay as long as possible on your app. So, thanks again to the people who answered our survey. Thanks again to the people who joined our focus groups. We did 10 focus groups with 10 people in order to have also qualitative feedback about what we should build. Number one is fake news. People are tired about fake news. So we said, how can we build a killer feature around fighting fake news? And we said, like, it's obvious. We need to have a fact-checking button on every single post so that if someone is writing a post like, Earth is flat, or men never walked on the moon, or any other crazy conspiracy theories that are flooding X and Facebook and the other platforms. So how can we fight that? Well, fact-checking button. Every single post you can push the fact-checking button, and it's going to tell you, no, Earth is not flat. And this is the explanation, and we are going to explain to you why it's not flat with external sources, so that after spending 40 minutes, 1 hour on our platform, you actually learn something.
Yeah,
and you know what is true and what is false.
Who's going to tell you Earth is not flat in this example? It's an AI, or how are you going to make sure that the answers are correct?
It can't be one AI at the beginning. We said, like, let's have one AI. But then, what if the AI hallucinates? What if the AI is wrong? What if the AI is conditioned by the culture of their builder? By having 7 LLMs competing in real time to provide the most accurate answer, we eliminate the hallucinations, because if 1 or 2 LLMs hallucinate, they are out of the equation. And the other ones, the 5 others, compete for the most accurate answer. So that when you click on fact-checking, you will see what is closest to reality, to actual facts. I'm not saying everything is fine 100%. We launched 3 weeks ago. Our fact-checking system still needs a bit of fine-tuning, still a bit of improvement. But overall, it works in 99% of the cases.
And what's the feedback from your users when it comes to fact-checking? What's the feedback you received already?
90% of the people are super happy about this. They say, wow, finally we have the fact-checking function. But I'm not going to lie to you, not 100%.
And what happens if, for example, I post something, it gets fact-checked, and the result is that it's fake, what I wrote?
Yeah.
What happens with my post?
Your post stays there, but anyone can see that you've posted something fake.
I will ask you about your future plans and where do you see this platform in the next years. But before, because we talked about the fact-checking possibility, I also want to talk about the user-controlled feeds. What exactly are they? How do they work? I mean, can I choose what I see on a social media when I enter eYou?
Yeah. So I mentioned the killer feature number 1, which is the fact-checking. There is a killer feature number 2 that I will talk to you about later, which is the feed, the news feed, which is called the Pulse. And now I'm going to answer to the question you just asked me, which is our third killer feature, which will be deployed in a couple of weeks from now. It's my favorite killer feature. How does it work? On your eYou profile, you are the only one to have access to your digital twin. Your digital twin is all the sum of information that we collect about you, based on what you comment on other people's posts or based on what you share in your own posts. For example, we did the test with myself. Grégoire Vigroux, French, in love with Romania and based here for some time, c'est un entrepreneur, 4 exits, wear black t-shirts, do sport daily, and so on. so many things that we were managed to collect about myself. And I have access to this in my digital twin. But the difference between what we are going to do and the other platform is that I have access to it. I can modify it. So for example, I'm a big Paris Saint-Germain football fan. If I go on my digital twin and I decide to change Paris Saint-Germain with Arsenal, then I'm going to be exposed to content related to Arsenal and no longer to Paris Saint-Germain. So basically, I have a full control over what the feed is going to send to me, to expose me to, based on the data that the platform collects about me, but most importantly about what I want to change. If I'm interested in cars today and no longer interested in cars but motorcycle tomorrow, same here. I modify everything. I can also reset completely my digital twin so that I don't have, I start from zero. I can invent myself a digital twin. And also something very interesting is that I can parameter my digital twin so that depending on the time of the day, I want to be exposed to different type of content. I can tell my digital twin, morning I want news, midday I want to have politics, and the evenings when I connect to the platform, I want to have humor.
Okay.
So basically we give full power on the user over what information we collect about them and how this is used. And we believe that this is a little revolution in the world of social media. It's not a big one.
So for example, if I just want to understand better how this experience will be, if I don't know, from Monday to Friday, for example, I want to be connected with everything that happens related to my job. So I want to see news about my, I don't know, work area and everything related to this. But then in the weekend, maybe I don't want to. So I can switch in the weekend to see, I don't know, relaxing content and maybe music, I don't know.
Yeah, you pick the categories of content with some keywords that you write yourself on your digital twin.
And the app will remember this for the next weekend?
Yes, and it's set up till the moment you decided to change it.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a revolution. No one is doing this. We believe that that's going to be a massive
shift.
thing.
Yeah,
shift, thank you for the word. A massive shift for the user, something that has not been done. So fact-checking killer feature number 1. Killer feature number 2 that is about to be implemented, the digital twin, and the killer feature number 3 already implemented is the Pulse. The Pulse is a news feed with AFP and routers. AFP and routers are news dispatch agencies. They are the big global agencies that distribute the news to the traditional media, being TV, radio, written press, whatever. And from them, they can create their own content.
So you have...
We are connected directly. We have a partnership with routers and AFP. So we are connected. So as soon as they have one news to share, it goes directly to our feed.
How do you see the future when it comes to monetization? Will it be a platform ad-free forever? Is something you can commit to? Or if not, then how will you make sure that that you will be able to keep the balance between ads and all the principles you've talked about, like choosing your feed, choosing the content you want to see, and fact-checking and so on?
So the question of the monetization is a recurring topic, especially when we talk to venture capital firms for our seed funding. You know, I'm a sales guy, so initially I was very much into building up monetization plans and how can we make some money out of it to be sustainable. But then discussing with fellow entrepreneurs and friends, they said like, man, this is not the way it works in social media. When you are building a social media startup, you need to have two obsessions: user acquisition, user retention. Once you will have 20, 30, 40 million users on the platform, then you can start monetizing big time. But right now, don't lose the focus. User acquisition, user retention. And this is true because I came to realize that anyway, with 50,000 users now, 100,000 users that we will reach very soon. Even 100,000 users is not huge in terms of how we can make money out of it. That's number one. Second of all, you mentioned the values and you are perfectly right. We are saying we are transparently, we are user-friendly. If we start polluting the feeds with advertising, people are going to be disappointed. And people are going to say, this is exactly like on Facebook, Insta, and the other platforms.
Will you be able to keep this on long term? Because
No, I think at one point,
this
yeah.
is what the question was.
Yeah.
How are you going to keep the balance between monetizing and the principles that you insist on now?
We will include our users in the decision. This is the most important thing. And let me tell you that eYou does not stand for European Union. Yes, of course, it also means, but our company name, eYou, comes from empowered you. We are empowering you as a user.
Where do you see the platform in, I don't know, let's say 5 years from now?
So in 1 year from now,
In 1 year and
call
in 5 years?
Call me crazy. I see 6 million users on the platform.
Okay.
I know this is recorded, so maybe you will invite me in 1 year and we can talk about this. But I think that there is the potential power of virality. We've reached 50,000 users on the platform with 0 paid marketing and with 0 influencers.
Okay.
So in case we would have invested 50,000, 100,000 euros per month into user acquisition, we would have way more people on the platform.
I also want to talk about your team and the team that is behind the platform. How big is your team? How big of a team you need to build a social platform these days?
Guess how many people we have in the team.
I'm tempted to say a few.
Yes.
Okay, but that was because you asked me. Because otherwise I would say that you need a lot of people to build a social platform.
We are 2 co-founders and we have a team of 2. So we are 4 people.
4 people. Okay.
And we are building the European alternative to American and Chinese social media giants. And we have 50,000 users on the platform. I believe in the rise of tiny teams. I have enough experience in entrepreneurship to understand that one of the reasons why startups disappear is because they are overstaffed. Mm-hmm. We believe in having a very, very, very small team. Made of people with very strong entrepreneurial mindset. Some people we can call at 3 o'clock in the morning that are going to pick up the phone. Some people who are as crazy as we are, as mavericks as we are, as ambitious as we are, as delusional as we are from time to time. Once we will raise the seed funding in June, we will announce recruiting a bit more people, but we will not be more than 10. And we believe also in the, once again, surrounding ourselves with a entrepreneurial mindset. Some people who can, one person can do the job of 3 or 4 people if we find the right people with also the right automation skills and the right way to use AI. I mean, you know this.
And because we are at CARIERE, I want to ask you what's your advice for people, young people maybe, that those people who have ideas, who would like to start their business, maybe their social platform, I don't know. But in general, leaving social platforms aside, there are a lot of young people in Romania, and not only wanting to succeed in business. What's your advice? What does it take to succeed?
It depends on your risk of your appetite for risk. If you're really looking for something big, and it's my case because I'm 46 years old, by the time I turn 50, I want to have something big. I had some companies that went well, but I want to have a company that reaches a global scale and that has a positive impact on the people and the societies. This is why I built this company. Now, if you want to have, if your appetite for risk is smaller than this, if you want to play safe, my recommendation is to go and not reinvent the wheel.
So the message is, if you have an idea or if you believe in something, just do it. That's the message for everyone that would like to enter business.
So the message is, if your risk appetite is very strong, very big, go for something that does not exist at all. But if your risk appetite is smaller, just take inspiration from a model that exists in other countries.
So one last question, and I want to go back to eYou with this last question. If you would have to describe your social media platform in one sentence.
Trust. One word, trust.
One word, okay.
Even better, trust.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, mulțumesc foarte mult.
Mulțumesc foarte mult pentru că ai stat de vorbă cu noi.
Da, și am vorbit prea mult, am fost și cum sunt, prea mult pasiune și am fost...
Ne-am mutat înapoi la română și abia aștept să discutăm, de exemplu, peste un an și să vedem cum vor sta lucrurile atunci. Mulțumesc foarte mult, Grégoire.
Extraordinar, mersi.
Pentru interviu. Cariere în mișcare, așadar, la final, doar pentru moment, nu uitați pe revista cariere.ro și pe conturile noastre de social media și pe eYou, nu?
Sigur.
Vom fi și acolo. O veți găsi.
Ați creat un cont pe
Eu am.
Personal.
Eu am personal și
pentru cariere?
Va fi și revista Cariere, că altfel
extraordinar.
nu se poate. Le găsiți și acolo și pe revistacariere.ro, bineînțeles, site-ul nostru, găsiți toate episoadele. Mulțumim că ne-ați urmărit. Numai bine!